one time I'm reading the newspaper and there's this competition, it's a writing competition by NCIC. Do you know what NCIC is? National Cohesion and Integration Commission. It's this competition that I'm now very interested in. And so I asked the librarian if I can have that part. But then she says, no, nikuje tu na notebook niandike what I want to write from there. So I write down the details, I choose a topic, and then I get to writing. So I spent the next week just writing. I finish, I get an envelope, stamps, and then I give it to my English teacher. And then I nipeleke kwa post. But then poster was a thing. Yeah. And I forget about it after that. Kidogo, when I go home, I get a call about the holidays. Have won! That was 2011.
And then
but it was just, what was it? I think it was to discuss the role that peace, national peace, has to play or something. And I just had something to do with national peace and tribalism and something around that. There were 5 topics and then you choose one. And then there were 3 categories: primary, high school, and campus. So me, I did for high school. And then I think they were picking people per region. So for Nyanza, it was me. Someone else, Western, another person, Rift Valley. By then, we still had provinces. So I won for Nyanza. And then I was so excited when I got that call. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. I don't think I did. And there's a book out there with all these essays, the winning ones. And the promises were so nice, but they weren't really delivered. Hatukuwa tunapewa pesa, tulipewa vouchers, shopping vouchers, but for bookshops. I know. So the ceremony was, we were taken to Intercontinental Hotel. And then did the gala, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. Kulikuwa na buffet. It was my first time seeing a buffet, and anyway, I just ate familiar things.
Taki pressure.
So you know, watu wanakula kuku na fork na kijiko na kisu na shangai.
Unatu?
Unakulaje kuku hivyo? Unafaa kushikilia. Anyway, that's one of my favorite moments in life. Always, we got trophies, certificates. We were to become brand ambassadors. We were to go around media houses, spreading the word of peace and uniting Kenyans. And then we were to start peace clubs in our schools, which I did. When I went back to my school, I started a peace club. But then there was no support from, the heads. So you don't even know what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You don't know how to guide all these people who have decided to join your club. I don't know if it's sustained or it died. I've never gone back to check. I get to Form 4. Now I'm just all about studies. I study. I'm trying to get to university. I passed. Had a B+. And then I went to study project management in Moi University.
By choice.
What I wanted, it was one of them. It was advised by my then boyfriend's sister, his elder sister. That was my first love. His elder sister kaniambia. So I was wondering, what can I choose? My boyfriend would choose nutrition and dietetics. Mimi, I figured, Mr. Kifanya the same course kani na wewe. By then unajua mnafikiria mtaishi pamoja, so like mtu mmoja akichagua hii basi acha mtu mmoja achague hii. But as much as I chose project management, I hoped I would do media, mass communication. I wanted to go to NMU and do mass communication, but fate had it. I had to do project planning. I didn't want it. So naambia my mom, nilipia tu niende NMU, and then she's like, enda ufanye hii kwanza, and then when you finish, nitakulipia hiyo ingine. And I believed her. But somewhere hapo katikati nikaona siwezi do it again. I just have to stick to this one and finish, and then just go live life. So I get to uni. First year was hard. Inception was difficult for financial reasons. That was difficult. So we go to uni, and tuko na just half the fee. Hata hiyo siku hatuko na fare ya kutufikisha hiyo shule. Mimi nilimtangulia saa zile bado yeye anatafuta fare yake. So nikafika, yeye akapata fare yake, ni join tukakutana tao. And then it was my first time also being in abroad. And then we get to school, tumepanga line.
Watu ni wengi.
Tumepanga line until 5:30 ndio tunafika. And then kufika mnaambia, we can't admit you have the fee. I cried.
Literally.
I literally cried. Nilitoka tu nje because now I was feeling hopeless. I was like, okay, hivyo tu ndio siingi uni. And then I just sat down at the pavement and cried. My mom was like, hapa kwanza, let me go make calls. I don't know what she did. I think she called everyone she knew to top up. And then they topped up, and what was left was 1,000 bob. And then she was like, so, what try to survive. I didn't have shopping, I didn't have anything, I just had my clothes. I didn't even have a sufuria or a cup or a plate. I had nothing. Yeah. So niko na tao, sijui hata nianze kushop for nini. So I'm thinking just the basics, toothpaste, toothbrush, mafuta kuzipaka, sabuni ya kuoga, and then tusukume life. And then my roommate was Isabella. Lovely lady. Isabella amenilisha. Isabella alinilisha sana during God sent me a lot of nice people when I was in first year who ensured I didn't sleep hungry. Isabella, there's a squad I loved. Nasir also really played a huge role in making me comfortable in school. My best friend at the time, Duke. Beautiful time. Now I'm in first year, I'm broke, I'm in a new town. I don't know what to do, but I knew one person, Duke, my best friend at the time. When I was in Nia, he was in Yala. And then immediately after we finished school, we came to know each other through a WhatsApp group. And then tukijua tunaenda si wote Moi, we were so happy. So at least I know someone. And because I couldn't get a hostel the first day, bado hawakuwa wameprocess school fees. Hostels walikuwa tu wanapeana if you pay your fees
up front.
So Duke housed me until nikapata hostel yangu, my room. Then Isabella was just an angel for me. Now I was a very sad girl during this time, very low. And then Duke noticed, and then he knew I loved to sing, and he realized there was a band within the school. And the first day he went to the band, he was so excited. Alikuja kako excited. Niko shoot ipenda. Akanipeleka band. And then by then watu walikuwa na audition, you had to audition to get into the band. And so I auditioned. The song nili audition nayo ni gani? Avril. I'm missing you, and words can't explain. I feel I'm insane when you are away. Wanijaza na furaha ya kipekee. That's how it was. It's been such a long time. I vaguely remember even what I was wearing. I had some blonde curly braids and a green trouser and a green top. Anyway, they liked me so much. They welcomed me into the band.
Of course.
Of course. I really enjoyed being in the band, and so nikiwa kwa band, I rediscovered my love for African music. Max, kuna Amlioto, kuna Regina Mlecha. Yeah, unamjua? She sings with Kidum. Eshuchi Lumumba. Yeah, music teacher and also still a musician as well. Kuna Muhonja the African. Unamjua? Nani mwingine tena tumetoka naye band? Johnny Isaya. Yeye alikuwa behind me. Yes, outside when one after me. Nani mwingine anafanya muziki kwa hiyo space? Wako wengi, most of them say ni instrumentalists. Njasi ni instrumentalist. We lost Mato last year, but he was also in this industry. Kuna Maria Ngoma. Empress mwenyewe. Kuna Matilda has also been in Google Simo.
Yeah.
Tuko wengi sana hii industry tukitesa. So I joined band and I rediscover my love for, rumba, lingala, benga. Because also, we had two patrons, elderly, and so hiyo ndio muziki yao, and so they push us to gravitate towards that as well. So we had Mr. Ongeri and Mr. Yogo, mabeshte zangu sana. Mr. Yogo used to take us out, mimi na Muhonja kwenda tu in Moi. Kulikuwa na clubs for the young people and then pubs for the old people.
Within the facility.
Within the facility. Like Moi is it's just a wholesome place the way it is. You wouldn't need something outside of it. So everything you would need equal within the center. And so as much as most of the time nilikuwa hii side nyingine kwa youngins. Nilikuwa time yogo anataka kupiga story na sisi tuko hii side. Tukisip tu pole akitupigia stories za his younger days. He really loved his wife, and he'd love to share their stories, how they met, just their love story, and it was beautiful to listen to. He was just a really nice person. And then there was Mr. Ongeri. Beshte yangu hadi wa leo. And they made sure we had opportunities to perform outside the school. So we'd get chances to perform in Eldoret town, sometimes in Nairobi, sometimes in Kisii. They'd look for gigs for us, and all we'd need to do is to just prepare. Kuna time, one of my favorites is when we went to Kisii to perform during Madaraka Day for the governor. And that was so amazing. Like, we're just kids from campus. Bado niko first year, I'm saying. And then tumeenda Kisii kuimbia governor.
A big deal.
Yeah. We went, did the national anthem for their stadium first, Kisii Stadium, and then did some of our songs as well. And then afterwards, the governor hosted us, gave us food, drinks, nini. And then usiku tukaenda club sasa perform tena. It was nice, it was amazing. I think that's the day I knew I wanted to be a performer. That night, like nilikuwa naimba na naona venye watu wanabambika. And that energy your energy ikienda back and forth like that, you start to feel like, okay, this is where I belong. This is where I belong. Because after that, music started being serious for me. There was a friend of mine also, a member of the band and an instrumentalist, anaitwa Muga. So Muga really wanted to be a producer, and he used to make beats from his room in the hostel. And he'd send them to me, and I started writing. The first song I wrote to me,
lyrics.
Naita Sway. It wasn't the first song I ever wrote, but it's the first one I wrote after deciding, okay, I'm going to be a singer.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a singer. And ever since, man, nimetaka tu kufanya muziki. Ever since. So, Alicious. When I was in first year and Mr. Ongeri and Yogo was really pushing for us to do rumba, hiyo ndio time posa ya bolingo ilikuwa imetoka. And it was everywhere. And I loved it. Still do to this day. Like your song, that's my jam. And that's the first rumba song I chose to do. All Congolese songs. Kama ina fit into rumba. I think it's rumba. Nikasema lazima nishike hii song, hii ndio song nitaimba. You know, we used to have band events kila semester. 50 bob early birds, 100 bob kwa gate.
Yeah.
So nikashika posa ya bolingo. And then
but uko na hizo lyrics.
Nakolingana ngai lisusute, nakokabaya ngai motema te, nakosopa ya ngai ayamisote, nakoboma ya ngai nzotote, bapasi oyo lagisinga isilisinga posa, banzela oyo legisinga isilisinga posa, babuto yezanga bonyi silisinga posa, ya bolingo, ya bolingo, ya bolingo, ya bolingo, ya bolingo, ya bolingo. I loved it. Baka nilikuwa naiperform kila event, nika nicknameiwa ya bolingo. So people used to call me, listen ya bolingo. Crazy. And then I started nikiingia social media, nikafollow Alicious, and I used to do her covers. And then one time she had a challenge. Ukifanya cover yake, it was $200. It was $200, but the competition was open. The challenge was open to the whole of East Africa. It was a boom play challenge. So boom play TZ, boom play Kenya, and Uganda sijui kama ilikuwa kwa mix. And so I did my thing, and then tulichaguliwa. Eventually they decided to spread the money between both Tanzania and Kenya. So $100 in TZ, $100 ikuje Kenya. So I won. Got my $100, got to meet Alicious, and then we've been friends ever since. And after that, when alikuwa nafanya Choma na Ngoma 2019, she called me and she was like, yo, see we do this. And Choma na Ngoma came. I was so excited. It's also the first time I met Akina Mutoria, the movement nilikuwa. And during practice, most of the time since she was so busy, so ni mimi nilikuwa na practice na kina Mutoria ni kama shoni yangu. So I just take them through the songs and tunafeel kama worked out well. I flew in my mom to come and meet her because my mom is her biggest fan.
Wow.
Tuko Nairobi, ilikuwa inahappen KICC. Yes, and she had to meet her and she had to take photos with her favorite artist. But time ya performance ilibaki kidogo. I missed out on the first song na venye I was singing Juliana's verse. I was to sing Juliana's verse on Bitanjia. And it was the first song we were opening with. Now, tulikuwa tunangoja huko hivyo Intercontinental. I didn't notice people passing. Tulikuwa tumekaa hapo tu na my mom. I think walipita time nimeenda changing room. Kutoka mimi bado nimekaa tu and then ninapigiwa uko wapi tunaingia stage sasa. Wewe niko like haya, kwani nilipita saa ngapi mimi sijaona nikipita. Nikatumiwa driver mbio mbio, nikaingia stage halfway. But the rest of it was beautiful. That is also among my favorite experiences. After party we go to this club in Westie and it received nicely. I wish they sent us shirtless boys with muscles instead of very beautiful girls in tight dresses. It was my first time tasting Moet. And Remy Martin smells terrible. I'd rather stick to Konyagi. Konyagi and Gilbis for the win. That was really nice. That was really nice for me. And then ever since we tried to stay in contact. She's not in the country most of the time because she lives abroad and also she works there. So she only gets to come during the holidays or leave days. So that has been one of my strongest supporters, especially tukiwa huko KICC alikuwa ananiambia okay, so this is so and so, if you want this and this, that's the person you should get to know, this and this. So alikuwa ananichanua sana on how things work, who you should know in case you want something, who to network with. Will have also impacted my journey in so many ways. I remember when I came to Nairobi in 2018 February. Sikuja bado kuishi, bado nilikuwa shule hiyo time.
Yeah.
I was still in campus nilikuwa Pothia. But in February I decided to come and just see what Nairobi looks like, how it feels like. No, yes, but it wasn't the first time either. Tunaweza sema it's more of 2017 because 2017 during the long holiday, after third year, nilikuwa huku most of the time, nilikuwa fedha living with my then boyfriend at the time. And so at that time nilikuwa na try kujua Nairobi and how the industry is like.
Yeah.
Bado sijajua nafaa kujua nani, inafaa kuwa kaje. But yeah, since he was also a musician, alikuwa shajua a few people to hang out with, a few people to talk to, a few places to go to. And so one of those places was Choices for Richard. So akienda perform huko, I used to tag along. And when I did, I decided to introduce myself to then host alikuwa Steve. So when I met Steve Urban, nikajiintroduce, nikamwambia pia mimi ni msanii, and then we scheduled a day for when I'd get to perform. And then I did perform. And he was so impressed. And also my friends really showed up. And for me it was just a vibe. One of my lecturers also came. And also he's one of my biggest supporters, Mr. Mbogo. So, and nilikuwa so happy just seeing the amount of support I received on that day. And do you remember Halisi, the old Halisi? I was performing after them. Ilikuwa ni sisi, Mimi, Halisi and Akuslik performing that night. it was my first time meeting Acoustic, and also let's say my first time meeting Halisi. And we were so amazed by the talent that night, like just the whole presentation that night was beautiful. Acoustic is great at what he does.
Yeah.
He just makes his guitar sing. That was amazing. And then me, I hoped I would cut and raise, but I closed the show after Halisi, and by the time walikuwa namaliza, me, I almost ran away. I was like, no, you guys, no,
Pressure.
no. How am I supposed to sing after you guys? You know.
But we'll kill it, tunajua, as always.
Kama. And that's when I also made friends with them. I really love them. Love them. Kulikuwa na Halisi made up of 5 people. Hey, and Halisi made up was... By the way, this is a PSA announcement. Please, old Halisi. No, don't laugh. I just want an album. You're true. Just reunite, give us an album, and then you can do any other thing afterwards. Please. I'm just getting chills thinking about what they were doing back then. Like, I'm getting teary. I'm that passionate about what they are doing. I just need them to give us an album, because that would have been the next Sauti Sol or even bigger. They had that capacity. I want to blessed. Anyway, so I performed after Halisi and killed the show. They were in a hurry. They had somewhere else to perform. But then immediately I started singing, they stayed. They were like, okay, we are late, but you're dope.
You can wait.
It can wait kidogo. And we became friends ever since. That was my first time, really, yeah, my first time performing in Nairobi. Choices. I shout out to Steve. After that, went back to school, came back in 2018, February. Now I decided I want to figure out how to start recording music. And then the first studio I went to was Vox House, Ngala Oreo. If you don't know Ngala Oreo, then you know Yunasi. And Ngala is a singer in Yunasi. So yeah, I went to Ngala's studio. Sikuwa namjua by then. A friend of mine anaitwa Kid.
Anarecord hapo hivyo ama?
Kid alikuwa producer. Alikuwa producer at Vox House. Alikuwa amesainiwa huko as a producer. So ananiambia najua type ya muziki yenye unafanya na najua mali unaweza fit in. So he takes me to Vox House. Yeah. Ngala ananiambia niambie one thing yenye wewe ufanye. So by then I had a song called Wachera. Very sad song, a heartbreak song, really. So I sing Wachera, and on that day, you know Midi was in studio. But then I think he was also signed to Vox House at that time, him and Kemui. So I sing Wachera and Midi is impressed. It's like, you see, change your style of music. Fanya tu ile. Ngala is also impressed. And so from then on, Ngala and I have been solid friends. On him to that's my person. And every time he gets an opportunity, he fixes in there. Every time there's an international producer who wants a female singer, a Luo female singer, Ngala will reach out to me. Almost Pesa tumefanya na Ngala. Nyaboma happened because of Ngala. So I'm so grateful to him. Same 2018, is it? No, I saw Ngala, met another producer, Darwin. We did a few songs, and then, but mostly his songs, so just being featured in his projects. And then I go back to school. December I graduate, and then now I finished school in August and then graduated in December. And then sasa 29. Immediately I finished school, nilichukua vitu zangu nikaeka kwa Noah. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I'm going to Nairobi.
Yeah.
And then along the way, I text one of my friends, anaitwa Rosie. She lives in Feather. I tell her, nakuja Nairobi and I don't have a place to stay.
Shout out to Rosie.
Nakuja Nairobi and I don't have a place to stay and I can't go back home. You know, this is the land where dreams are made.
Home ni Usago sasa.
Oh, Usago, turudi nyuma. I'm now a graduate. So I'm hopeful, but at the same time scared. I have started a journey and I don't know where I'm going. So Rosie says, okay, you can just come, but after 3 months you'll start paying rent. So I say, okay. Nafika, nimeingia kwa Rosie. After 3 months I got a job and moved out. But within these 3 months, I joined a band. Ilikuwa inaitwa Afrongoma band. So we used to do
gigs here and there.
Every week from Wednesday to Sunday. I only rested on Monday and Tuesday. I enjoyed it, but it was tiresome. From Goma, I met there's a friend of mine called Vivian. So Vivian was like, there's this producer friend of mine, anataka kunifanyia projects, but mimi, I'm not sure if that's the path I want to go. So I want to give that chance to you. Tunajua wewe, hii ni path yenye nimeshachagua. So I'm like, okay. And then ananipeleka Umoja. Producer anaitwa Marlon. So Marlon ananiuliza what I want. I just share my vision, I share what I've already been working on, these are the songs I've written. By that time I had already written so many songs. But most of them zilikuwa. So venye alizisikia, he knew exactly what type of artist I was. And tukaanza work. That was 2019, somewhere mid 2019. Tukaanza work on an EP. The EP was to be called Dala. And then it was to have 5 songs. We recorded, did we record all the 5 songs? We recorded all the 5 songs, but then somewhere hapo katikati, something happened that could not allow the other 2 songs to come out. So I released a premature EP with 3 songs. And basically 2 songs and half a song. Because one of them was an intro. Msanii was supposed to be an intro to the EP and then 4 songs. The other 2 songs, moja ilikuwa inaitwa Prepare, ingine ilikuwa inaitwa Bakinami. Bakinami is one of the most beautiful songs I have ever written. Because to me, that was an apology to myself. Someone really did me dirty. Someone really did me dirty and never apologized for it. And I couldn't see myself moving away from that pain without that apology. So I decided if it's not going to come from him, it's going to come from me thinking it's coming from him. So I made him apologize to me. So, yes. Yeah. So I told myself sorry through Bakinami. Maybe I'll put it in my next album. But I really wanted it to be in my EP. So my EP only has Dala, Nisanyingi, and Nisani. And then after that, what did I do? That was 2019. 2020, I basically didn't do music at all. I don't know why. I wasn't feeling okay mentally and emotionally. I was not in a good space. I was not in a good space. I lost a really good job that I thought would really put me in a nice place in society. You know, I was working at a very prestigious multinational company, and then all of a sudden, Corona hits and I don't have a job. And there's rent to be paid, there's all these things, there's plans I had made, there's a way I had visualized life, and then now I have to undo and see.
Control.
Yeah, man. And so I like, okay, how do I even do that? Like, life was supposed to be good, you know. And then now I'm not even sure it's going to be good. And how? But I'm supposed to be a front runner, you know. I'm the one you promote. I'm the one you see as the greatest contender in a place. And so it was hard. It was a very bitter pill to swallow. I had to really go really deep within myself. And then I decided that I can only do it at home. I went back home. My house here was accumulating rent. Yeah, I went to Kisumu now. I was there until lockdown ilinipata huko. Nikakaa tu huko until I came back in August. By the time I was coming back, I was still tired. Niko 6 months behind on rent. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Sina job, niko tu. By then still, nilikuwa naona career as what I'm supposed to be doing, and then music is just something I do as a hobby because I can't do it. So we get to 2021. We did Tuendelee in 2020 during lockdown. It's a song I also wrote during that time, and then talked to Robin, and then we did it. So I'm entering 2021
that time
with
you in Kisumu,
Kisumu. Nilikuwa Kisumu hiyo time, nilirecord Kisumu. So in 2021, when I came back here 2022 bado, that's when we did Shari Afrika towards the end of 2020. It must have been either November or December. We do Shari Afrika, and then 2021 we dropped Shari Afrika in January, and then my boyfriend at that time asks me, okay, now what are you going to do with this? Immediately after Shari Afrika drops, then I'm sure, Trio is in school, so we can't do much. And he says, no, you can. He says, you do this. Fanya your marketing peke yako. Contact everyone you can contact media station, contact all these people, secure interviews, promote the song. And then that opened up my mind. Like, but I can't do anything when he's away. He was like, no, you can. Try alafu uniambie kama umeshindwa. So I do just that. I look for these contacts. Nani ako na contacts za this? Nani ako na telephone? Nani ako na hii? Nani ako na ile? I get numbers. And then I start sending messages. Akina Jagango, akina mzazi, Tuva, whatever. I send them messages. I'm like, yo, I'm so and so. I have an EPK. I send them as well. And then I send a link to Shari Afrika. I'm like, tumetoa hii song na Trio. And I'd like to promote it since he's in school, but ningependa kuipromote at least hii song. Then I secure interviews just like that. Guys are just seeing me on TV left, right and center.
Wasema the people in the village walichinja mbuzi hapo kwa stage.
Man, every time that's the story. That's all I hear when I go back home. Tulikuona kwa TV. Most of them ni roga. So, mwaneni ya Citizen. Ukidance na ubachi. Some of them sing my songs back to me. They're like, Nyakoni orokango. And then they dance. That's how they greet me. So most of my aunties back in Shags are like, wakiniona, ay, Nyakoni orokango. Na wana dance wakikuja. It's so wholesome. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. So I do these interviews and all of a sudden I get the drive to be a musician. Not as a hobby, but to actually be a musician, and it's not just singing or knowing about music. It's doing it and spreading that consistently. So in 2021 I decided to know. That's when tukafanya goma, tunafanya pesa zote zikatoka. No. Hizo sasa ni masingo. EP ni dala. 2020 hatujafanya kitu. Tuendelee peke yake na Shari Afrika, and then all these things drop in 2021. So 2021 I realized to be a musician and to be in these spaces you have to do more than just making that music. You have to promote it. You have to be very deliberate with it, and with how you network, with how you connect, with who you talk to, with even simple things as where you record. So I begin to now try to understand the industry. I begin to learn about the industry. For example, something as simple as looking for interviews. Kuna watu wamejieka as middlemen that you have to pass through them before you get there, and that should not exist. Me hata na feeling embarrassed when I see them say ati tuna charge 20k ndio upate media tour. That shouldn't exist. We're just creating more barriers for musicians. Na tayari it's already bad enough for us. We don't need promoters at all. I'm sorry, but we don't. We don't need them. They're just making the artists' work more difficult. Now people don't understand how difficult it is just to create that art. How expensive that process is. How mentally challenging that process is. Alafu sasa tena ndio kuje mtu atakomlipe 20k ndio ifike ichezwe ndio watu enjoy. Knowing very well hata ikichezwa an artist may still get just 3,500 at the end of the year from that. It makes no sense. It just makes the artist's work difficult. So at this point I'm interested in learning how all these things work. And then I realize for people who do the kind of music that I do, kuna trauma imekuwa passed down in a way that tuna feel we won't fit into these spaces. I can't promote, I can't go to 10/10, I can't go to Bobby Dandela. Tunakaa chini tunajiambia hata hakuna haja kutafuta. Watu wenye wali experience and then they decided they won't fight that system. So wameacha mainstream media ikuwe for commercial music, commercial musicians. But someone has to start that war, someone has to push it. Someone has to push that barrier or it won't change. So sisi wote, hata mimi nikianza kuambia watu hivyo instead of kuambia no, we fight it, we push it, last, itaendelea tu. Other alternative musicians that come after me, nikianza kuambia no, we can't promote our music on 10/10, watachukua hiyo and they'll start to wonder, okay, now where do I take it basi? And then they realize there are no other spaces that much. And then what now? They give up.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. You die poor when you can make money. Sitaki kukua personally or to point out artists, but utapata most alternative artists. Audience yako itakuwa na how many people? 20? Sometimes even less. And that's not enough. You need to reach people. Utapata kuna 1 million people watching 10/10, and maybe 200 of them like what you're doing. That's 200 more people than you didn't have. Reach is what counts. The more people you reach, the more people you find. The more of your people you find. Na hawako tu in one particular space. Wako kila mahali, you just have to find them. And that means hiyo kila mahali lazima uende. Lazima uende kila mahali ndio upate hao watu 200. Haimaanishi ukienda 10/10 utaimpress all the 1 million. But pengine hao 200 wanawachingi 10/10 peke yake juu they don't they aren't exposed to other channels. So ukiwapata hapo, then now you direct them to where you do your thing, to where they can find you other than there. But that means you have to insert yourself into that space first. That means you have to do away with that fear, that trauma. And so for me, when I started to insert myself into these spaces, other alternative musicians were like, hey, now I'm encouraged. No, how did you do it? And Jumadi is one of them. I shared those contacts and I was like, just ask them. And before I leave these spaces, I'm like, I also know other people, because nilikuwa nafanya muziki, they're like, wow, hawasikiangi hii. And it's because we don't go to them. They don't know it exists. Watajuaje kama hatuendi? So I go there, I do my stuff, and they're like, wow. One of my favorites, Malik. Malik is the producer at 10 over 10, Roga, and that reggae show as well. Most shows in Citizen.
Yeah.
So the first time, Malik is one of the contacts nilipewa when I wanted to promote Shari Afrika. And then hakunisumbua hata. I was like, yo, can I come promote me? Sure. He was like, okay, next Friday. Tuma picha, poster,
Hivyo tu.
kuja. Una perform kitu ingine tena? Yes, I'll do an acoustic set. I come, I perform some of my songs. I do Nyagoma and nilifanya gani nyingine. And then after that, ndio sana nafanya Shari Afrika. So I have sold what I came to sell, but also myself. After that, called me again. Nikaenda tena perform, nika notice, okay, I have an advantage that other people have not yet seen. So I decided to introduce other people to that space. My first one was Jumadi. She got the interview, I think, immediately after me. And then I was also the first person Malik invited to Ramogi TV. He also ensured he invited me to Roga as well. I didn't know him, he didn't know me, but he loved what I was doing, and that was enough. And he made sure he pushed it in every way he could. And so if more of us did that, we will ensure these spaces are open to artists like us too. But it has to come from us. We can't wait for them to approach us or to ensure we are comfortable. Because in some way, they don't know we exist. So we have to shout about our existence. We need to learn more about how our industry works. Those who know need to share and teach and encourage and inspire. And also bring more people to those spaces. And hiyo chain iendelee, mwenye ameletwa pia analeta wenzake. Hiyo chain iendelee. You know, funnily, that's not an artist thing, it's a human thing. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Even in the regular workplace. Yeah. Mtu akiona unakuja juu sana, that means you're threatening their position if they are above you kidogo. And no one wants you to. It's very rare.
Yeah.
It's very rare to find people who want you to be even in the same space as they are. It's not a music thing. Even tu music imetuweka in the limelight, so people get to witness it. But in our Kibo, everywhere, venye tuko, I think wanting to be competitive.
Yeah.
It's a competitive world. But I remember nilikuwa na show flani. Was it 2020? I think 2020 Valentine's. So nilikuwa nimepewa gig at Dago's. I used to be a resident singer at Dago's. That means I was there every day. That's my home. And all of them just welcomed me and made me part of their family. So grateful. So nikapewa gig February 14 of 2020.
Fantastic.
No one showed up. My audience was how many people? 6 people. And I only knew one person. And then the other 5 were strangers who I've never seen. But that, I don't know, I felt so bad. I felt so bad. But those 5 people, I gave them a show. I gave them a show. And they were like, we don't understand. They couldn't get it. I also couldn't get it. But yeah, both good and bad. I wouldn't say it's my worst, but probably the saddest. Feels very bad when you prepare for a show and no one shows up to experience it. Especially when you know it's going to be